Okay, it's the second hour. We're talking about black love. Does it exist? Or is it just gone? Baby, I love you, but I just kicked you down the stairs. Or I just kicked you out. Or I'm making you put a tattoo on your body, then we break up within a couple of months, a couple of weeks.
And there it is. Or somebody reading from the Book of Ike.
Right. Reading from the Book of Ike, which is a very, very good book because it tells the truth.
Word for it.
It tells the truth about their relationship.
And speaking of black love, y'all probably hear this rattling going on in the back. This is some black love with some Oreos.
Yes, we keep it real here.
And we eat some Oreos because I'm hungry.
But yeah, the truth about the Ike Turner, Tina Turner situation, you cannot sing and go on stage after your jaw has been broken.
That's kind of hard to do.
It's kind of hard, but she made a claim that she did it. And of course, now she's no longer a United States citizen. She lives in Holland or someplace like that.
Married to a white man.
Yeah, married to a white man. And I'm not mad at her. You know, once you go white, you know it's all right. So the saying goes. And
I ain't never heard that, but
yeah, well, that's what they say. So
I've heard once you go black, you never go back.
Right, unless you're a black man and you want to get Becky with the straight hair.
Which, you know, that's what brings us topic. Is black love there?
Is it there? Is it anywhere? What do you think? What's your thing?
Well, as I finish swallowing this Oreo, well, I would say if you're on the outside looking in, it would make you question whether black love is dead or not because of the things you see regarding black couples or the things you don't see regarding black couples. Now, I'm in a black relationship, if you want to call it that.
Are you sure about that?
I'm positive. Listen, trust me. As I said once before, my man is black.
Well, he's a little on the light side now.
He's a little on the light side.
Now, you know we have a color problem in our community.
I'm telling you from what you don't see. Okay. The brother is black, okay?
TMI, but okay.
Hey, I mean, I just need you listen.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
Now, for those that don't know, Dee used to like them blurple.
I wouldn't say all of that. I mean, I don't discriminate when it comes to. I'm not into colorism. Like, oh my God, he's too black. You know, my daddy is black.
Right.
So yeah, I don't discriminate as far as he has to be just a right shade of caramel complected. I mean, that's so silly.
Right. Or he has to be 6'2".
Yeah, I mean, my man is 6'4", but
right. Yeah, see what I'm saying? But and we're talking about black love. And this, sometimes I'll sit down and, okay, I'm an average height man. Mm-hmm. I'm average height. I'm 5'10". Mm-hmm. The average height in the United States is 5'9". That's the average height of a man.
Right.
Now, you will see some women that will not give a guy, because he's less than 6 feet tall, a chance. But he might be a good man. But, it's like that's almost unrealistic. When you go on these dating profiles. And you'll read, and I don't like dating profiles. I'm on a few of them, but
Christian Mingle, you the devil on Christian Mingle.
Hey, my mom was on Black Planet, BlackPeopleMeet.com. That's an whole different story.
My mom was too, and I was shocked.
Yeah, I was shocked too. And my mom's like, "I'm no whore." So
that's what you tell me, Mom.
Something going on.
It's all good. It's all good. I ain't judging you.
But you'll go there and you'll see these black women, beautiful black women. I want this. I want. And the profile seems so angry. And then, I'm just trying to be... I read the whole profile because a lot of people don't read the one.
Yeah.
You like, I want. You stop at that. But, I sent this young lady a message and I said, hey, I enjoyed your profile. I enjoyed, your background and everything. But your profile comes off a little bit...
austere, just...
angry.
Yeah.
Angry black woman. We talked about that last week. This woman came back and told me, fuck you.
Ooh.
End of story, period.
That's all you need to know.
That's all I need to know, but here's some constructive criticism. Hey, nothing wrong with your profile. I'm just saying it comes off a little bit angry. I know you're looking for somebody.
Well, were you looking to date her?
No. I was just reading.
You were just giving some free
criticism? I was just looking. No. When I read...
People's profiles like, okay, taking those.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
No. We took human sexuality at RCC, right? First thing that's going to attract you to anybody is physical attraction.
Oh, absolutely.
And if you say, well, I like his mind. You have to be attracted to the person.
Now, first. Damn well you looked at his shoe size first.
Right. Yeah, his shoe size, or you like that tattoo.
Right.
It's physical attraction.
Right.
So anybody tells you anything different, it's bullshit. I stopped dealing with the chick at I want. That's why I said I want.
So why does that? Why does the I want, quote unquote, turn you off?
Because you're making a demand of a person, if that person made the same demand of you, would you reciprocate that demand?
You know what? Honestly, I think it depends on if you like the person, because you put up with a whole lot of stuff
True.
with somebody you're into physically,
But-
in every other way.
But when you're first
meeting,
meeting somebody, you're at the club or you're at a function. I want you to buy me a drink.
okay, so now come on now.
But that's how it came off.
That person
Yeah.
shouldn't even be able
Right.
to leave the house with that attitude.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. If you're trying to meet somebody,
No.
you can't meet somebody demanding.
No, you can't.
Right, and that's what I was trying to tell her.
I mean,
Right.
a woman who is bad enough will be able to garner a drink without saying a word.
Exactly.
I mean, I've been out with you, and obviously, me and you aren't romantically involved or anything
Right.
like that, but we've been out, and you've
That's
sent,
because I love your sister. I love her.
But I've watched you on numerous occasions send drinks to women, and they have not said one word to you.
Not a thank you, cat, dog.
Or even, they never even said, buy me a drink.
Right, right.
And now you just, and your stance on it was because you want to show women that chivalry is not dead. There are still men out there
Right.
who can appreciate a nice
beautiful
little woman
women,
walking into the bar.
girls' night or whatever y'all are doing. Hey, thanks for coming out. It makes me look at something very beautiful and enjoy my night.
Right, but on the flip side of that, a lot of women aren't used to that anymore. Oh, he must have put something in my drink. What's his angle? I'm not sleeping with him. Just because you buy me a drink don't mean I'm going to do nothing with you.
Well, the least you can do, like my mama said, if somebody's going to do something for you, the least you can do is say thank you.
No, absolutely. And,
keep it pushing. And that's all I expect.
I've been out with you too, and you bought drinks, and the girl just Watusi right past you
Right.
and didn't even look your way.
Black women. And check this out. Nigga better buy me. I'm looking good with this foxtail on. And
Hey, stop it.
this foxtail. And it's sad because, when you go to other, and I'm not trying to stereotype, but in my experience, you do that to any other culture, the least they're going to tell you is thank you.
Yeah, but you know me, Donovan.
Yes.
I don't think it's specific to black women. I just think we just happened to be in an event where there were black people and some black women who were unappreciative of you buying them drink, did not say thank you. But, we tried to play devil's
Right.
Maybe they thought we were together, and maybe they thought you were my man and you was buying them a drink on a sneak tip.
But even if I did, and you're a woman of virtue, you should still say, bust me out. Hey, thank you for the
Your
drink.
man brought me a fruity drink.
Look, thanks for the drink, girl.
Right.
Girl.
I mean, I tried to find a reason why they didn't do it.
And you
Although
couldn't
I know
find
it
it.
was just because they probably felt some sense of entitlement. Like, you're damn right, I look good. He gonna buy me. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but in the aspect of black love, I mean, it's really rare. It's like when I led into this hour, you got women that will be abused and they think that that's love.
It's because that's all they know. They probably watched their mom and their or father, whoever, engaged in that type of relationship, and so they think that's normal. And then again, I guess you have to define abuse,
Right?
Because I don't think most people. Well, some people do think physical abuse is normal. It's a sign of love. It's not, but they think
Right.
that.
But okay, this show's like Loving the Skin I'm in, and I said this on a previous show. I was talking to somebody. I don't understand it. You guys that go to jail get pussy. They get pussy.
There is a
and I don't understand that.
I know women who have met their husbands while their husbands were incarcerated, maybe through a pen pal type
But,
situation.
I mean, I don't
I'm
know-
serious.
See, here's what I don't understand. I'm free. I'm walking around.
I've heard it this way from a woman who had a man on the inside. Her and her girls discussed it, and they said, at least we know where he's at. At least we don't have to wonder if he's coming home tonight.
But then what kind of man are you dealing with where,
I
where
totally
that's
agree.
your expectation?
But that's how they slept at night, with the fact that they're with somebody who's in
so
prison.
he's in jail getting bent over by butt
God,
buddy.
I hope not.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, why would you even take a chance like that? Because there are stories, and especially in our community, we don't go to the doctor. We don't want to know. Who are the fastest growing? Matter of fact, the biggest epidemic of STDs? Black women.
Right. It's
true.
It is true. But that's the way I heard it.
Right.
We know where he's at. I know when I go visit him, he's going to show up.
Mental illness.
It is mental illness, because what it says is, I don't have enough self-worth or self-esteem to find a man on the outside who will come home to me, who is not going to take me, as I say, through the stuff, making me wonder if he's with somebody. I don't have nobody texting and calling my phone. And you got social media going on.
Right. But what kills me is you've got women that are so loyal to these incarcerated men that they will put money on his book so that he could be comfortable while he's on the inside, and they can't even get diapers for their children.
I don't know. Sad reality. That is the truth. It's the truth. But fortunately, you and I, have never.
Right.
Now, I would be lying to say I've never dated anybody who was incarcerated. Right. In my young 20s, I had a boyfriend who, for whatever reason, loved to drink and drive. Mm-hmm. So he kind of spent some time there. But as I got older, I had to mature and had to really get to know who I was, and that I deserve more. I can't do no time with you, brother. Right. I'm 46 years old. Not that my Al would ever do anything like that.
Well, I got something to tell you. Speaking of Big Al,
no.
I did a background search. I had MV Gordy just do it up.
He was like, this guy is outstanding.
No, he was like, do you know that drug connection through Houston, New Orleans, and stuff like that? Al is the kingpin of it all.
He says she is one lucky gal.
This woman's in love with her Al. Al can't do no wrong.
God dang right.
Al's a really upstanding guy. I really like him. He has a good sense of humor because I tease him all the time and stuff like that. Really good guy. Yeah, he is 6'4". So.
But as I got older though, that became like, I look back and was like, how could you? But I get it. That's the stuff young women do. But there are women my age who are still taking those 2 and 3 hour trips to the penitentiary
with the kids.
Can't wear this, can't wear that, getting patted down or whatever the case.
Traumatizing the kids, and then the kids think jail. And that was another thing. I had a friend that went to jail, and she was in the military, whatever. Mm-hmm. And she got out of the military and got caught up in a bank robbery, or not a bank robbery, a store robbery, and she was in the car, whatever.
Yeah,
in love with this nigga, Mm-hmm. Did 4 years in the military and ended up in jail.
And this one says doing like 18 years?
Yeah, she did 18 years, yeah. She's about to get paroled, I guess.
Jeez.
And going back up north. I said, why would you go back to the same environment you came from? But anyway, that's another story.
Jesus.
This young lady, got caught in that situation, and then she's getting ready to come out, and it's like, and she went in young. She went in like, she couldn't have been more than 21, 22.
Her whole life.
And a tiny thing, she can't be no more than 5'2".
Her whole life
destroyed.
Behind bars.
And nobody there to support her.
I have a cousin who gave the feds 14 years behind right with her dude.
Waste, you know what I mean? That's wasted time.
14 years just being there.
See, and what I don't understand is, okay, when I went to go visit her, okay, it's visiting day, and she was over at the Corona women's thing over there. And they were going to send her up north because she's ready to be paroled. She's in... what's that next? Whatever the place is. There was a movie, Kevin Costner. He's the running Mexicans and stuff. It's a really good movie. Go see that one. But she's up there now, and I went, and you're waiting. You're going to the processing center, and I'm thinking this is some bullshit to go through all this, right? But you got to go through it.
And that's just for you going to visit.
Just going to visit. And I'm sitting there, and I'm seeing and this is the women's prison, so all these women have children, and you don't think about that going there. You're thinking, okay, this is like the movies. I'll get the door, boom, I'm in and I'm out. No, it takes you like an hour. You got to have the paperwork ahead of time.
You can't wear a weave. You can't wear a bra with an underwire. You can't do this.
Right.
You can't do that.
And you can't have an attitude. You can't do any of that. So they're ready to whip you some ass. And so I go visit. I'm seeing all these kids. And in the visiting area where the kids are, they've got like playgrounds for the kids and, cookies and treats. They spend a whole family thing. And then I noticed... Because there's no way in hell I would go, if my woman was incarcerated, would I go and bring my children up there? Because these kids, you're putting in their mind that it was a playground.
And some of them, that's all they've known of their parent is that's the only place they've ever seen them was in prison.
In prison, right. And a lot of these women, a majority of these women are in there for drug offenses.
So, and that's actually a good tie-in to, is black love dead? Okay. Is that black love? Now, listen, and in no way, shape, or form am I saying that if your man or your woman go down for the count, you shouldn't be there. It just depends. Now, you got a criminal that you're with, right. He just keeps going in and out. Okay, you might reevaluate
that because we're getting older and you need benefits when you get older.
So I'm not saying, you should leave people at their lowest moment. Life happens, okay? But at some point in time, you got to ask yourself, even if you were green, is this love?
Right.
If you loved me, why do you keep putting yourself in a situation to have me, to take time out of it? Because, to It sometimes is what 2-3 hours long.
Yeah, it takes 2 or 3
but
hours.
it takes sometimes 4 hours to drive up there, and then you gotta wait through processing for hours.
The logistics, and then you forgot this. You went up there for nothing. You got to go back.
You can't get your visit because you wore the wrong thing,
right? Or the person did something that morning,
and they don't tell you until you get there.
Exactly.
So it is that love.
Right.
You know, and not just really, you know, talking about prison to put, you know, prisoners on
down.
a hot seat.
I mean, you know, there's a purpose for a prison. That's all.
Right. But that is a question nowadays. Is black love dead? And a lot of times people ask that is because you see a lot of envy with black women and black men. Mm-hmm. Oh, black women, they do this. They got this. They got attitudes. Or black men, they don't do this and that. They love white women. And, you know, so it's like a lot of infighting. Right. I'm not saying other races don't do it, but we do it publicly. I sent you a meme yesterday that had two screens or two. It had black men wearing fighting guards. Come out. This is how black men look about the war on weaves.
Yes.
But this is how they looking there behind the curtain on the phone talking about
under the bed
fighting white supremacy.
Right.
So
that's a good point.
So if you ask me personally, is black love dead? I obviously would say no. Because, you know, I've watched both of my parents when they were married, they're black people, and they remarried to black people. Mm-hmm. I've never seen my parents be with anybody else. Mm-hmm. And I've never been with anybody else but a black man. So I would venture to say, no, black love is not dead.
You know, I have a lot of friends that have been married for years. Mm-hmm. And, you know, when I see them together, like some of them have been together 30 years. Mm-hmm. My friends from out of town came into town, and they've been together since high school. We were in Japan together, still together to this very day. Grandparents.
Black?
Black couple. You know, I can go on and on and on. My military friends have been together. They go to, you know, couples retreats and like that.
Yeah.
You know, I always ask myself, why not me? That's the way it should be. Why not me? My problem is I love Ratchet. I love Ratchet.
Well, marry one.
No. The rule number one is you never marry a Ratchet.
Well, then you've answered your own question. Why not me? Is because you love a Ratchet, but you won't marry her.
I love Ratchets because I'm waiting on your sister. Okay.
Well,
now I'm going to tell you, there are certain people that are born in this world that have certain features and certain attributes. You guys get your attributes from mom. Beautiful woman. This woman was beautiful. I mean, remember that time I went over to Walters and there was like a party. You guys were doing a party or something. I think somebody had graduated. Mm-hmm. And your mom was laying on the couch, and I walked in, I was like, oh my God! Remember? I walked in, and I was like, oh my God, because, I mean, she was so beautiful. I was like, oh my God, whoa! You know, because unfortunately, you know, you get our age, you expect this gray hair.
Yeah,
you know,
hey, you doing something?
Yeah, you know, hey, how you doing? Gorgeous woman. I mean, even in her sickness, this woman still maintained her, I mean, not a wrinkle on this woman.
Yeah, and people would say that even on her deathbed.
Right.
I mean,
she still looked.
When the nurses would come in, they'd be like, she looks so young. Like,
young.
So
gorgeous, intelligent.
Hopefully I can get that going on too. You know, I may leave these Oreos alone, but today I'm gonna eat.
Well, no. Like I said, I'll be watching Al because, like I said, I heard some stories about him. And
all good, baby.
Yeah.
Good.
There's a big
legendary.
There is a big human trafficking thing going on in Houston, and I have a suspicion.
He can traffic me all day.
So, but back to, you know, loving the skin of man. And I'm giving you another example. Like, you have these beautiful women. Our co-host Deja. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put the video up. Some of the video clips come up. This woman came to the show. Her hair was beautiful, Afrocentric with the braid, beautiful. She dimmed the highlight a little bit, which was good. But you know what I'm saying?
She said dim the highlight.
You know, I mean, it was a beautiful hairstyle. You couldn't help but notice this woman, and you know, I don't know her business or something like that, but you're thinking, wow, you know, who wouldn't want a beautiful woman like that to?
Well, and I've never met Deja. I've heard a lot of great things about her. And I always say, I spent 3 years being single. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when you're a woman, and she sounds like a woman who knows her worth, when you're a woman who knows your worth, you probably know your worth because you've been through a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. And she has.
That brought you to the point to say, okay, hey, I am worth more than what I've been going through. So maybe she's not willing to just settle.
Right. Because
when you get our age, I don't know how old she is exactly. She's probably a little
40,
younger than me. Okay.
40. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So when you get our age, you start to recognize the red flags quicker. Yes, quickly. You do. It's not like when you were 20. It's like, well, I know he don't have no car. He keep losing his job, and he got a couple of kids with some, a bunch of women and stuff. But I'm gonna give him a chance. I'm gonna build me a man.
Well, here's a funny thing, and I'm glad we kind of walked into this part of it. I have some friends, and came in from out of town, and we're sitting, and we always get together and talk about what the hell's wrong with these young kids. We got grandkids. So of course, we're at that stage. We were playing cards.
Yeah.
And y'all
say, what the hell's wrong with these kids?
Grandkids. Well, how the grandbabies doing? Check on everybody's grandbabies.
I'm glad nobody asked me that yet. No grandkids here.
And you find out, okay, we're getting older. We're in our middle ages.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 50,
I'm
not you.
46. Not quite.
But a couple years, give or take 5 or some years, you're going to be middle aged. You're going to be in your 50s.
Unfortunately.
And I'm finding out a lot of our friends that were playing that stupid ass game. I'm in love with him, and he's in and out of jail, whatever. Now these people have no benefits. You can't get Section 8 now because your kids are grown. The kids have gone on with their life. Some of them said, "This is bullshit, Mom. I'm getting out of the ghetto." Right. They're doing for themselves because they said, "I don't want to live the way my mom had me live. You want better." And seeing all these women that lived off of Section 8 and things like that, and we were sitting there talking. Well, I don't know why. I said, "Well, you invested nothing. You took Section 8. I mean, the government fooled you. They literally played you, had you play yourself."
Well,
and now you're 50 years old.
True.
You're worried about the Obamacare being taken care of because you have nothing vested.
Me and you have a friend in common on Facebook.
Okay.
I think because I know you delete a person quick if they on that bullshit.
Yeah, right.
She's been going on and on and on about this Obamacare.
Right. Okay. I know you're talking about.
Yeah. And finally, now that it's it's still standing.
Woo!
Yes, but it's like okay. If you're on Obamacare and you saw that it might be coming to an end, wouldn't you go to your plan? Maybe it should be your plan A or B and say, okay, if it does pass, I need to do this,
right?
Because obviously I'm gonna be asked out, so I need to be, put my tax to use or whatever. But to your point, that stuff is supposed to be temporary. It was never supposed to be a lifetime.
But what I'm saying is, you've got so many of our friends who bought into that system, and then they're like, okay, I'm 45 years old. I'm about maybe 47, whatever. And I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, you aren't as tight as you used to be if you're not working out. I'm not. You know what I'm saying. The gravity's going to take over. You're not going to be beautiful. I mean, not everybody has that gene. And I'm sorry, you're not as desirable to me. I invest my time. Yeah, Donovan, look, he's stupid fighting that white man's war. And it's not about the military, whatever you do, whatever job you get. You're L7.
Right.
He worked at McDonald's for 17 years. But he got an education. But you know what I mean? He's vested. He did he worked at Home Depot. Whatever the situation is. I don't want no woman that has not, you know what I mean, at this point.
Right.
And it's like, I can't find, well, I'm not saying nobody's going to love you. Somebody's going to love you. Cleophas that has no teeth now because he's been selling drugs in and out. He's always around.
Right.
But, because she was asking me, she goes, well, I want to find a good man. Sweetheart, a good man is not even going to look at you. There are some,
Well, no, absolutely. And, my dad always says this. You're either going to be an asset or a deficit.
Deficit, right.
And a lot of times in relationships, black, white, or whatever, there are people who want to bring themselves to the table, which is fine. To you, you're a legend and you're cute. And,
right.
But what are you going to bring to the team?
Team.
What are you going to do to help this relationship overall? But a lot of people won't do that. It's all about me. And then you were speaking earlier about people and their expectations.
Right.
I expect for you to be 6 feet. You got to have a 6-figure job or income. You got to have this. You got to have that. A perfect example, not that I like to quote Steve Harvey because he's been on my shit list for a long time.
That guy's garbage.
But he was on Oprah once. And this is when he was promoting his book.
Of course.
And some lady, and clearly everybody can see she was well over 300 pounds.
Okay.
And not to fat shame anybody, but that's not even the point I'm making.
Yeah.
So she has this list of things that the man should be, her ideal man. She says he has to be physically fit. I'm telling you, this is what she said. Physically fit, muscles. He has to have, I think she said a 6-figure or 7-figure income.
I'm out.
All this stuff. And so Steve Harvey is looking at her like, now you know what he was thinking, like, you ain't been to a gym since the inception of a gym.
Right.
But here you are saying you want a man who's physically fit and who works out. And he says, okay, So he took the other and said, "Do you have a 7-figure income?"
No.
And she says, "No."
I'm the table.
He says, "Well, how are you setting expectations on somebody that you're not meeting?" And you know, he clearly want to say, "Listen, you's a big girl,
Right.
So don't you think a man who you just described is going to want somebody who's just like him to some degree, who likes to go to the gym, or
right?"
But so people have these expectations of you. You need to be doing all of this.
Did you see that episode? I know we're kind of going. We still have to do with Black Love.
Yeah.
Where they had those twin daughters or girls, and they went out with these guys, and they
it was
took
on Steve
one
Harvey?
Yeah, and they took one guy, and they gave him a George Jefferson hair thing. Guy was, ended up being a CEO of
some big time
company.
Yeah.
Both of them were really well off. But these girls were so immature. And
it just played them to the left.
Yeah, they're like, oh, well, I like him, but he's not for me. I want him to be with... it's like, well, your expectation... This was a successful guy, which goes back to what we said earlier.
Right.
I'm 5 now, but what if he's a good man?
What if he's a good man? Right.
6 feet, okay, but not everybody's 6 feet.
Yeah, people walk by their potential love or the ideal man every day and put him up because he doesn't look the part. Michael Baisden, I don't know if you remember, he had a radio show. They did an experiment where they had some guy dressed up like he was playing the part of a janitor in some nice hotel lobby. He was sweeping and stuff. And so he would try to have conversations with some of the women that come through there. And they would just playing him off and, some of them ignoring him.
Right.
And so then they went up to some of the women and said, well, he was trying to talk to you or, have a conversation. Yeah. And they was like, well, not that he was really trying to flirt, but he's not really my type. And so then they exposed him for who he really was. He was some millionaire and all some stuff. And they're like, oh.
Totally different.
Yeah, but he was making the point that, to your point, women will say, oh, I'm a good man, but it's like, how you know that janitor wasn't a good man?
I mean, not everybody for you is going to be 6'2". You can't...
Right.
You can't really say, okay, the Lord's going to... What if the guy was 5'2" and a billionaire?
Yeah, but then I'm going to play devil's advocate too. I don't think it makes you shallow to say, I don't want a man who's shorter than me.
No, I'm not saying it makes it shallow, but what I'm saying is, and you're right, you're absolutely right. Like I said, everybody has their idea like me. I want just, you got to be voluptuous, you got to have
she was
curves.
Rasputia, but she was a good woman. Would you date Rasputia?
Does she have a face like Rasputia?
Possibly.
That's going to be hard.
She has a face like Rasputia, she has a body, but she's nice. She's not Norbit's wife.
Okay. A lot of men are going to deny this, but it's true. If you got a nice body on you, you got an ugly face, we'll get with you. We will.
Okay.
So, yeah, I could date her. If she's got that nice body, and so, I could date her. But long-term marriage, I'm not sure yet. I didn't say that.
What's the difference?
Well, the difference, long-time hitting, I'm good.
But she's a good woman.
Right, but I'm hitting it, I'm good. Like I said, I can grow to love her, or, you know what I mean? It just takes some time for me to look past all that. But she's got that nice body and everything. She's doing everything I want to do.
Right.
I mean, anything's possible with me.
I mean, like for me, the lovely, wonderful, awesome relationship that I'm in now, I like to make people sick.
Yeah.
When he first approached me, I was like, nah, same old. Not that he approached me that way, but this is probably going to be the same. They're
nice guy, he's saying the nice thing.
Yeah, and then they don't stop calling and stop texting and I just don't want to go through that. Right. So he was like, I thought you were going to call me. I thought you were going to call me. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to call you tomorrow.
Right.
And I'm making all these excuses.
Yeah, trying to throw him off.
So then eventually I was like, you know what? I was on my walk. I was like, you know what? I'm going to call him. Just do it.
Right, and get it over with.
Get it over with. And the rest is history.
Wow.
But had I let my past experiences of, he's probably like the rest of them. There are no good men out there.
Right.
If I'd have not that I was thinking that, but I just didn't want to go through that.
Do that right now at that point.
If I would have let those things dictate, some other woman would have had him. God dang it! I'm just
Exactly. But so basically, in your situation, you found, because you were previously married
to a douchebag,
right? To a douchebag,
and I'm not even one of those women who talk bad about men, but he was a douchebag,
right?
And I hope he's listening to this.
And he was a traveler. He was in logistics.
A truck driver.
Yeah, he was in logistics, and we know
he was a whore on wheels.
Pilot, truck driver. You got girlfriends in different states and stuff like that, which was a shocker to me that you had married somebody like that.
Me too.
But you gave everybody a chance and stuff, and you could have walked around with a chip on your shoulder, and you didn't, which is really good. But So you found it. You didn't give up. But what made you decide just to give this guy a chance? What did he say in that conversation when you called him?
It's kind of hard to tell when the first conversation, because everybody, let's be honest, everybody puts their best foot forward, and you're supposed to. Now, is that the best? Is that the best foot forward, or is that the lie forward?
Right.
Which is what a lot of people do. A lot of people will lie, say this is my best foot, but it's just a lie.
Right.
I found that he was consistent, and not only did he tell me things that I want to hear, but he's been able to live up to those things. Now, of course, he didn't say, "Girl, I'm gonna fly you around the world.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy." It was never, because I'm not a materialistic person.
Right. He kept it real.
Right.
He was like, "This is what I am. This is
right."
how.
He fulfilled the things that I was looking for in a man, which is consistency, loyalty, honesty, knowledge of self.
How many kids does he have?
He has 3.
What about the other 4?
No.
Okay.
But you're all right, and you're also friends with him on Facebook, and you
absolutely.
see, how he, talks about his children.
Yes, I'm going to be honest. With, even though it disgusts me and stuff, it's more it's more of jealousy, because everybody wants what you guys have,
and they can get it. Everybody can have it. It's not like it's just anomaly, which a lot of people will say it is. It's not. It's just, I know for me, not that I had like high expectations of people. I'm like, just be you. If you can just be you and it's not a douchebag, I'm with it.
Right.
But a lot of people do have these unrealistic expectations about people. I've talked to women, like the one girl that we have in common on Facebook.
Yeah.
You've seen her. No shade to her. I love her. I've known her my whole life almost, right?
Right.
She has these most unrealistic expectations. Like let's say if you were to first go out with her and said, "Oh, my phone's about to get cut off."
Yeah, would I hit it? No, I'm messing.
But let's say, because this is probably a real conversation she would have with you. Oh gosh, I'm surprised I made it on this date, because my phone about to get cut off. And do you know that if you didn't offer to pay her cell phone,
I'm done.
Or she would get on, because we used to be in these private groups together, and she would say, "I went out on a date with this man, and I told him that my phone was going to get cut off." What happened to a man taking care of a woman?
But are you his woman?
That, or she'll say, what happened to men that see a woman need? What happened to those men who would take care of
up.
Well, no, I said there's a difference between you being in need and you being needy. Now, if this is your first date and you telling a man all your problems, "Oh my God, my phone about to get cut off,"
warning flag.
He's like, this is a bill.
Right.
Now, a man who's really into you, and you've given him the opportunity to get to know you, probably wouldn't have a problem helping you. But if that's the first thing you talking to me, he's like, this chick is needy.
Right, but doesn't that go back to a lot of, especially these young women, they think that their pussy is platinum.
But she's not, I'm not saying she's old,
but you know what I'm saying? I'm talking, not her, just in general, these young girls.
Because
they go back to think that their pussy is platinum.
God old when he made it.
And my man ain't gonna leave me because it is the bomb diggity, and that's it.
I would like to say this: everybody's replaceable. Not me, not Al, but everybody.
No, exactly.
Everybody's replaceable. So you have to do things to keep the person interested. Now, if that's your attitude, well, shoot, you better be happy you with me.
Right.
Like, I've talked to a lot of dudes who said that they're winning, and I don't condone cheating at all, because I've been cheating. I don't condone it, but I have a good friend of mine who said he was engaged and his girlfriend was super controlling.
Right.
Saying stuff like, if you don't take out the trash, I'm not going to have sex with you. If you don't do this, I'm not giving you none. So he said, okay, listen, you're not my mama. And so he felt like I'm going to take the trash out when I want, so she would withhold. And so he said one day, he was like, look, I'm going to the store. And he said, of course, he wasn't going to the store.
Right, he ain't never coming back.
He came back, but he was relieved when he came back.
Right.
But he said, I let her believe that her withholding the goods was keeping me in check. He said, but that's the kind of stuff women do, not realizing you running a good man off.
Right, exactly.
So, but, as far as does black love exist, I absolutely think it exists.
Well, I mean, I see it all the time in examples, and a lot of my friends, you and Al, things like that, it exists, but like I said, 70% of these women, black women especially, are not married. I'm not saying marriage and love.
Right.
Marriage and love have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah, well,
they have nothing to do with each other.
Well, yeah, some people will say that. Yes, we're married. Do I love her?
Yeah.
I used to.
Yeah. They have nothing to do with each other. We just have kids together. Right.
I used to love her.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of black women who are not married. Now, but again, that's a statistic. Has a lot to it. You know, maybe they're not married, but they're still with the kid's father and all of that.
Okay, well, it brings up another point. I have a lot of girl cousins. Mm-hmm. I had a cousin that just had a baby. Mm-hmm. Okay, just had the baby. Her and the father aren't together. You just had the baby.
Okay, but let's ask this question. Because a lot of people think they think they're in love. Mm-hmm. Or they think what they have is love. In essence, it's just sex. It's just lust.
Right.
And so people have sex. Oh, I love you. Oh, gosh, it was so great. And then once the kid is here, it's like, I really don't like you.
Yeah, or that friends with benefits thing. I never understood that when I came to the States for the first time, and people say, oh, yeah, I can be friends with benefits. I was in the back of my mind, what if I got this girl pregnant? Are we really friends? Because you don't screw your friends. I mean, that's my idea.
You're not supposed to. It just muddies the water.
Well, it muddies the water, but it's like whenever me and you would go out and, and hang out, people are like, are y'all together?
Right.
No, we're just,
like a man and a woman can't hang out there being,
and it's platonic or whatever it is, except when me and Amanda. Amanda, if you're listening, I'm coming to Jacksonville. I want what you owe me. Who would have thought that freshman would have been turned out like that?
Did you see that video of her singing?
Yes. Woo. Yes. Oh, my God. But you know what? I love you, baby, because look, I think I can sing, too. So, R. Kelly. Wait. Yes. R. Kelly. Him and the accuser came out again, refuting.
Well, you know why he's doing that? Because he's had to cancel some
shows.
Yeah, because ticket sales are low.
Yeah,
like 50%.
Yeah, because people are now awake of what's like what R. Kelly, what?
Right, you're doing some pretty. Yeah, it's legal, but it's still some pretty.
Why does this happen in our community? It's almost like people just say, hey, we know it happens, but why do we take it like it's not a big deal?
Because sexual violence in our community has always been taboo.
Yeah.
Taboo to the fact that we're not going to really discuss it or get the victim help, or we're going to explain it away. Well, are you sure he touched your booty?
Right. But in this situation, is this girl a victim?
I would say legally she's not a victim because she is of age. Maturity wise, no. I honestly believe he made upon her, and he is a Svengali. I really believe he is.
Right. Mm-hmm. So. I just don't understand it. I mean, you can get to a...
He doesn't want that. And what a lot of people don't understand, not to divert from our topic of is Black Love dead, but hell, it all ties together.
It all ties in.
A lot of people are having a hard time believing that R. Kelly can be a superstar and a pedophile at the same time.
Right.
Both things can be true.
Yes.
They're not mutually exclusive. They can exist at the same time.
Right. I was talking to somebody earlier in the week. And the sad thing is we don't do enough travel, especially as black people. Mm-hmm. We complain about this country, but, traveling to Jamaica where you see other black people being oppressed, that isn't much progress, and that's really not a lot of travel. You need to go where you can see other things other than yourself in a situation like that. Going to the Caribbean, to me, is not...
I've never been turned on by going to London or...
Right. No, but what I'm saying is, though, that's the extent of our travel.
Right. Do you know... I'm eating these Oreos, so I'm sorry.
Go.
I've met people, black people, that have never left their city.
Yes. I have cousins that never left their cities. L.A. right there. They just.
I live in Riverside. If I drive to Moreno, 10 minutes up the street, I'm in Moreno Valley.
Well, yeah, but and by the way, D got lost coming to Moreno Valley
all the time. If it ain't to Donovan's house, we're getting lost.
Right. Well, the thing is, she was passing my house, and she thought she was in a third world or something like that. She looked at the city look like this, and then the other part of the city look like two different areas. So you can get lost.
Cross the street, okay?
Right. Mm-hmm. So, but that's the extent of their travel, and when I tell them, you've got international stars that will go places like Thailand, the Philippines, where you can buy 11, 9-year-old girls and do what you want with them.
And I'm sure they do.
And they do. No, absolutely. Right. That's why you have the sex... these
trafficking
guys,
and human trafficking and all that.
Well, the tours. These rich men will pay money to go over there and deal with these kids. And it's like, yes, that actually goes on. If you would travel and understand that, outside of the United States, there's all kinds of shit going on that that would just shock your mind.
Right. And again, it's not right.
It's not right. Yeah, it's not right.
But
morally.
They know they can go over there and do that and get away with it.
Right. So,
but I always question: would you want somebody traveling outside of the country to have sex with your baby?
Very true. But inside the United States, if this man is 60 years old, and my daughter's 19, would I have a problem with that? I think I would. Even though she's of age, I think I would.
Yeah, I mean, because what do you have in common with somebody that old? Now, there's cases where people says, we've been together for 30 years, and I'm 20, 30 years younger than him or her, whatever.
Right.
It works. But
I'm 60, he's 90. Okay, I can understand that. OJ and Nicole, she was 18. He was, I think, 27, 28 at the time. So, yeah, there's a big difference there, So, very thing. But there is examples of black love, but for the younger folks, they don't even slow dance.
Or listen to
R&B.
music. Yeah, R&B is not what it... Man, back in our day, and now, see, that's how you know we getting old. Said back in our day, you could listen to a record and be like, okay, that's what I'm going to say to